Hello, and welcome back to Fist Entertainment. This time for my review of 1981's The Final Conflict, also known as The Omen 3, The Final Conflict, which again, like I said, was made in 1981. This one introduced us in a lot of ways. It introduced us to Sam Neill. This actually might have been Sam Neill's first film, or one of his first films. Sam Neill, we are familiar with Sam Neill from films like Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park 3, Daybreakers, Event Horizon, Dead Calm, The Hunt for October. Very popular British actor. And on a side note, if you were to replace Doug Bradley as Pinhead, you should have him do it, because Sam Neill would definitely, it would feel like the same Pinhead. They're very, very similar in look. The only difference is that Sam Neill doesn't have a bald spot or thin hair, so he actually has a full head of hair like I do. And I believe he's a little bit younger than Doug Bradley. Either way around, he definitely would make a good Pinhead. But enough about that. Let's go on to the opinion that I have of this movie. 1981's The Final Conflict definitely, to me, is a good, satisfying conclusion to the Davian Thorn Antichrist trilogy known as The Omen. I think that definitely comes full circle quite well in this one. Again, this is another cheap movie because these films were big deals around their time, but you can definitely tell that they were cheaply made back then. There were countless of other films that cost much more money made around these times. In the first two Omen movies, I thought I had a bigger budget than this one. This one definitely has the smallest budget of the three original films. But what I like about this movie is people, when they think of Sam Neill, they think of protagonist characters. Like Dr. Grant in the Jurassic Park movies. When I think of Sam Neill, I think of the characters he plays that are much more villain-like and nasty. And him bringing his nasty villain personality to Damien sells the movie so well for me. He makes a perfect Damien Thorn. He makes a perfect Antichrist in this movie. And this is Damien Thorn, obviously closer to my age. So I'm guessing he's like, late 20s to early 30s. So he's not as old as I am, but definitely close to my age in this movie. Definitely does a great job. I applaud the film. Damien has kind of pretty much become what Robert Thorne is. What it was in the first film. He is working for the U.S. Embassy. And obviously he takes on the mantle of becoming the next U.S. ambassador to Great Britain. And of course, he has his minions working with him behind the scenes. And he wants to prevent the coming of Christ, to challenge him for power over humanity. And so he's trying to stop the prophecy from being fulfilled to where Christ vanquishes him back to hell for all time. And so he does a crazy thing by literally going ahead and slaughtering newborn children who were born at a certain time of the morning on a certain day. So like I said, this definitely has this very elaborate, very twisted, oh my god, I can't believe they did that in a movie, oh, that is just fucking wrong, thing in this movie too. Like I did in the last film, Damien the Omen 2. And obviously, hot on his tail to stop him and to allow the resurrection of Christ to happen. You have, I guess, the modern equivalent of the Knight Templars. Pretty much warrior monks that are sent after him with the ceremonial knives that we are familiar with that we thought were buried in the last film, but have been discovered recently. And obviously he takes them all out with supernatural powers and stuff like that. Yes, Davian does actually use much more supernatural powers in this movie, but like I said, this film was made for a lot less money than 1976's The Omen and 1978's Damien The Omen 2. 1981's The Omen 3, The Final Conflict, or just known as The Final Conflict, was made for a lot less money. So yes, you get the sense that he's using supernatural powers and doing unnatural things to kill these warrior monks. But it doesn't look that cool, obviously, due to limitations of budget. But still, it's a gratifying end. And obviously by the end of the film, he fails, and for a woman, he was trying to turn to his side because he's kind of falling in love with her. She stabs him with, obviously, one of these ceremonial daggers, and that's it. He is gone. And we see him before he dies. He says, "Nazarene, you have won." Nazarene is the universal concept name for Jesus Christ. If you were to sum up every single religion that believes in Jesus Christ into one word, it'd be called the Nazarene religion. Or not really the Nazarene religion, the Nazarene faith is what it all comes down to. The Nazarene faith, whether it be being a Catholic or a Baptist or being a Christian or being a Unitarian, it all comes down to the Nazarene faith. Now do I believe personally in the Nazarene faith? Yes. I'm not religious. Something interesting right there. In my opinion, you do not actually have to be religious to believe in God and accept Jesus Christ as your Savior. You can do that without being religious. Because I do. So, quality. The audio is kind of brought up a little bit. There actually is good overhead effects in this movie. A lot more of them. There were some shocking effects in the previous films, but it wasn't taking spotlight all that often. It was like you would get like a interesting hunting effect overhead, or on my system, or behind you, or on the sides of you on your system, depending on what type of system you have. Every now and then there'd be something haunting happening, but it was not very elaborate. In this one, there's actually a hell of a lot more effects. Because this is made in 1981, they had definitely established that having 4 channels of encoded audio and having surround effects, obviously, is the way to go with movies. So yes, there is a lot more of a surround experience with The Omen 3. I'm trying to get used to not calling it The Omen 3 because the official title of the film actually is The Final Conflict. That's the marketing title. As for the picture, just like the first 2 films, it looks like a product of its time. It's not brightly lit. It's very dim. It's very warm looking. There's lots of grain. Whoever remastered these films just remastered them, but they didn't really restore anything about the picture, and so all little flaws that the film had originally are still there, so blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. It's about the same as the other 2. And well, that's pretty much all there is to say about The Final Conflict from 1981. Like it or hate it, I think it's a good, fitting end to the Omen story. And I'll see you guys next time for the very, very pointless remake of The Omen. And I'll go into why I call it that. And just a little